Good morning. I'm Andrea Gallo. I'm the director of the enterprise group. The air conditioning is working great, too much for me. Welcome to the ARM Server Ecosystem Day. We have a few external invitees who are joining us for the first time. So let me start with a short introduction of what we have been working on and why we have organized this day, and then we will enter the technical sessions. Linaro, we are a not-for-profit. We are funded by members. It's all about collaborative engineering. All our members outside Linaro are the fiercest competitors amongst them. They fight for market share, as it shall be. In Linaro, we cooperate all together at solving common engineering problems. Outside Linaro, the members would have to solve the same problem maybe 10 different times in 10 different ways and possibly not upstream the solution. By working with Linaro, we solve the same problem once for all, and we upstream it. So we share all the development costs. We reduce the development costs for every member. All the work is carried out in the open, and our final target is to have everything upstream in corresponding open source projects. We were founded in 2010 by 6 member companies. Now we are at about 28 members with different membership levels, and you can see all the logos here. 2 years ago, a subset of companies approached us asking to have a similar work for ARM servers. So I was first saying that all the work is happening in the open. And in this table, you see the latest report about the open source contribution by companies. And Linaro is number 4 as a contributing company. And for the last 2 years, we have been stably in the top 10. So I was saying 2 years ago, a pool of companies suggested that we work on the server, on enabling ARM server ecosystem. And the idea was to cooperate in enabling the ecosystem for ARM servers. So we have been working since then on 2 parallel tracks. One track has been engineering and enablement. So we have been working on standards for the foundations for the bootloader. We have been contributing and using the Tiano Core open source project, improving the way it is integrated with the kernel, the way the kernel is booted as a native EFI application without any custom ARM loader code in Tiano Core. We are collaborating with the ACPI community. All the patches are now being reviewed with great detail and lots of constructive feedback. We are working on other foundation technologies, KVM and Xen for virtualization, OpenJDK, and we are deeply in contact with all these open source communities. The maintainers for KVM on ARM are one is working for Linaro and the other is working for ARM, and we are deeply involved in the open source community about KVM. The same for Xen. Citrix is a member in Linaro, and there's a strong cooperation with the team. And in OpenJDK, all the work to have a very high performance JIT C1 and C2 JIT on ARM 64-bit is being done in the open. So for all the enablement work, we have always been cooperating with the communities and the maintainers. The second track of activities is on workloads. Workloads, first to test the foundations, to test what we have been working on. So we have been using OpenStack to test libvirt and find gaps in libvirt, to use it with KVM and Xen. We have been using Hadoop to make sure that the OpenJDK port is working properly. We have been profiling the LAMP stack and GNX. We're working with Ubuntu, Fedora. But we have not been so far working with the upstream communities for the workloads and the server projects as much as we are doing with the kernel guys. This is one of the reasons for organizing this day. We feel that we need to engage with the maintainers of all the open source server projects. We need to share patches, we need to share test results, we need to identify corner test cases, gaps, areas of joint improvement. We need to identify if there is any architecture specification of a specific optimization, or if the workload runs as nicely on ARM as on other architectures, which is what we have been finding most of the time, which is a very exciting result. Whenever we see that workloads, when we look at the CPU distribution of the task, the CPU load is distributed in the same way as on other architectures, then that's a great result. It means that the software is already mature and the software does not need architecture-specific optimization. So porting to ARM is smoothly. So overall, the outcome that I would like to see as a takeaway from this day today is to understand how we can help the open source server projects adopt AArch64 and ARMv8 64-bit servers in their release testing. Can be OpenStack, can be Go, it is already OpenJDK, but we do want to create the relations with the open source projects and maintainers and make sure that we can understand what the requirements are to have ARM 64-bit servers in their release process. One issue so far has been hardware availability. Last Monday, our CEO announced that we are setting up a developer cluster of ARM 64-bit servers, and that will help external parties access those machines and port and test their software. So the rest of the day, and I will stop talking here and we will enter into the real technical sessions. So during the morning, we will have technical sessions with demonstrations around OpenStack, OpenJDK, we will see Jenkins, we will see Docker, Go. We will have demonstrations and status update from the Red Hat, Fedora, Ubuntu, the Xen project, and we will conclude the morning with a short set of lightning talks from key invitees who will share their view about servers and what their requirements are to adopt ARM. In the afternoon, after lunch, we will move to the breakout room. This is the Grand Peninsula F. So it's the room, if you exit here on the right, is the room just in front, the Linear Enterprise Group room. It's organized in round tables, and we want to have informal discussions one-to-one between our invitees and our tech leaders, and start discussing how we can work deeper together. So thank you very much. Welcome again, and we can start with the first session. So Andrew, Clark, Michael,